Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal. Meta earnings is due today after hours. In this video, I'm going to share my price projections for Meta and that should be valid after earnings. Meta earnings is important for Nvidia as Meta is one of the major customer for Nvidia. So Meta earnings number can either lift Nvidia stock or bring it down. Now, let's get started. Starting with the financials, I put together the summary of the financial data for last 7 quarters in this file and also year over year and quarter over quarter comparison and also the revenue and EPS projections for this quarter in column L. Starting with the revenue, year over year, Meta showed a very good growth and also quarter over quarter, so 22% versus 7%. Net income also going in the right direction, 73% year over year and 8.9% quarter over quarter. Profit margin percentage, gross margin percentage, EBITDA margin percentage, no problem year over year, but in terms of the quarter over quarter, you see that the last quarter they struggled on the gross margin and EBITDA margin percentage. EPS going in the right direction. Each quarter they're able to show the growth on the EPS. We'll further talk about EPS in a little bit. Free cash flow per share, you see that year over year going up, but quarter over quarter, last quarter versus 1 quarter prior, you see free cash flow are going down, and that's not a good sign. Debt to equity ratio quarter over quarter and year over year is going down, so that's a good sign. So financial overall looks good and going in the right direction. Now let's take a look EPS. And also for this quarter, we're expecting that revenue should be going up versus last quarter. And also EPS, we're expecting it should go up versus last quarter. Now let's dig into further on EPS. On this table, I put together the EPS projections and EPS actual for last 6 quarters and also the surprise percentage. So you can see that in all 6 quarters, Meta was able to beat the expectation. So average 9.49% for last 6 quarters. Next 4 quarters, the earning is projected to go further up. And if you compare next quarter versus 4 quarters from there, you see that the growth is 9.90%. That's a good growth, but not so great because if we compare with Nvidia and other AI stocks, their earnings growth 4 quarters from now is projected to be much higher than Meta. Now let's take a look at forward PE and try to make some projections for Meta. In this table, I put together the adjusted closing price for Meta for last 30 days and also the EPS trailing 12 months. And I also calculate the PE ratio with respect to trailing 12 months EPS and the PE ratio with respect to forward EPS. And we also call it forward PE. Another table I have here that captures the trailing PE and the forward PE for last 7 quarters for Meta, and also the third table that has EPS projections, actual, and the closing price for last 7 quarters. And also I calculated the median, min, average, and the maximum for the forward PE for last 7 quarters, excluding some outliers. For example, this one and this one. I also put together here the surprise percentage for each quarter after earnings. And also calculate the minimum, average, maximum, and median surprise percentage for last 7 quarters, excluding any outliers. For example, this one. And also I have EPS projections for next 4 quarters. So now I have all the relevant data to calculate the price projections for Meta that should be valid after earnings. So I did the math. I came up with these values: minimum, average, and a maximum. A minimum 413.95. In order to calculate the minimum value, I use the EPS forward, that is E4, the first factor, and P31, and that's a minimum forward PE. And the third factor is the minimum surprise percentage from the earnings for last 7 quarters, and that is this one. So this gives the minimum value 413.95. Similarly, I calculated the average value using the same formula, except I'm using the average forward P in the second factor and the average surprise percentage in the third factor. So that gives me the average value of 499.5. And similarly, I came up with the maximum value, that is 639, using the similar formula, except the fact I'm using the maximum value for the forward P and also the maximum earnings surprise for last 7 quarters. So that gives me 639.81. So in my opinion, after earnings for next 3 months, Meta should be moving between these numbers. And if you take a look the price history, in last 6 months, Meta did 37% increase, and year to date 71% increase in last 10 months. That's much lower than Nvidia. Nvidia did about 190% in last 10 months. So more than double. And you know the reason, right? The earnings growth of Nvidia is much higher than Meta. More than double, as I showed you before. Let me show you one more time. You see that? Earnings growth 9.9% for Meta. Let me show you what I had for Nvidia. And for Nvidia, you see that the earnings growth for next 4 quarters is projected to be in total about 29.7%. That's almost 3 times more than Meta, right? So you can pretty much do the math. Year to date, 71%. If I put Nvidia here, you see that year to date, 193%. Almost 3 times more than Meta. So in the last quarter, Meta did the earnings surprise about 9%. So in this quarter, if Meta is able to do the surprise percentage more than 9%, that would be a very positive news for the market. And you'll see Meta will jump high or will surge after earnings. But if they report the earnings surprise less than 9%, then it won't be a big surprise to the market. So in that case, we should not expect a big surge on Meta. And also any depressing numbers, both in revenue and earnings, and also the revenue guidance would impact not only Meta stock price after earnings, and that will also impact Nvidia stock price as well. So that's why I think Meta earnings is very important for Nvidia and also Microsoft. But I was not able to do the price projections for Microsoft. But the relation between Microsoft and Nvidia almost similar to Meta versus Nvidia. So that's all about my analysis and price projections for Meta and also the impact on Nvidia after earnings. I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more in the next video. Take care.